Hello, everyone. I'm Kerry George from CIBN TV on YouTube, and you can also find us at thecibn.com on the internet. And today I'm going to be talking about a very important subject. It is collaboration and how to turn a collaboration strategy into $150,000 a year or more for your business. And I know a lot of you think that I'm going to be talking about JV partnerships. And I want to tell you that that's not what I'm talking about. So you're going to want to stay tuned to find out more, because this is going to be worth thousands of dollars to your business. So stay tuned. I'm Kerry George with CIBN TV, and you can find us on YouTube, and also you can find us at thecibn.com on the internet. And today I'm going to be talking about the subject of collaboration. This is part of our series that you'll find on the YouTube channel under how to increase business revenue, and it's there in the playlist if you're looking for the other parts of the series, because each piece of the series will actually show you different methods of increasing your bottom line revenue by $150,000 a year. And we're going to be going through at least 9 of them as we are doing this. So one of the things that I want to talk about right now is the collaboration strategy. So the collaboration strategy is something we designed over a decade ago, and we have been using it at CIBN Connect successfully for a long time, and actually helping other members and people within CIBN do this as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is, as I discuss collaboration strategies, is that collaborating, as I'm going to describe it, is not a JV partnership or a joint venture partnership. And I just want to talk about, first of all, what is the difference? Because I know that when we've talked about collaborating strategies in the past, something that has often happened is that people will they'll think automatically, well, she's talking about a JV, and no, that's not it. So what is a JV strategy or partnership right off the bat, just to get that out of the way? Well, usually a JV is more like, I have an email list and maybe you have an email list. Maybe I sell CIBN Connect's networking products and you have a coaching business. So you decide that, or we decide together that I'm going to promote my networking products to your coaching industry list. You got 10,000 or more, and I've got 10,000 or more. This seems like a good thing to do. I put together a package. I create swipe copy, which means I write the emails for you, and you put them out in a series. Those things generally work best if we both have a good size email list, because then I can do a favor for you later as well, right? And you send yours out, mine out to yours, and I send yours out to mine, probably at different times. It's timed out well. And we sell our products or services into each other's markets. And generally how this works is I will give you like 40% of what we bring in if you put this out to your email list. And perhaps you'll give me 40% of what you earn if I put it out to my email list. That would be a typical JV or joint venture partnership. It works best with groups of people or people who have lists, a following. That's what it works best with. But it doesn't work for everybody, because not everybody who gets into business or wants to do a JV partnership has a list. Also, another thing is that what if the product or service that I'm trying to sell into your community, what if I don't have a history of making sales with that product? That would also be a problem. If I don't have the ability of closing the deal, and I try to sell this into your market, you could have a great list. You could have 100,000 people on the list. But if you don't personally, if I don't personally have a closing ratio, that could be a problem. And that would mean that you would have a hard time getting 40% commissions off of the sales if I can't land the deals. So you see how this could have a breakdown? I have tried joint venture partnerships over the years with a variety of people. And to be honest, I haven't found most of them that valuable. And I know in the last few years, I have talked to many colleagues who also have large lists, and they've had varying degrees of success with different joint venture partnerships. In order for a joint venture partnership to work, there's a few things that have to be in place. The product being sold and the person selling it needs to know how to sell. The list that it's going into needs to be the kind of list that would be receiving of that information. So it's got to have a similar target market. And the way that it's rolled out, it has to be done very, very well. Okay, so if I write swipe copy and I send it to my JV partner and I ask them to, put this out to their email list and they don't listen to my directions, that could be another factor of how it isn't going to work out, because maybe I need them to send 3 emails in a row or 7 in a row for 7 days, and they decide to shorten it or change the copy, or they decide to only put 3 emails out instead of 7. And then they're like, oh, it didn't work. Well, if you don't listen and you do it differently than how you've been asked to do it in order for it to work, that would be one of the reasons that this kind of thing fails. So this is just an example of how a joint venture could work. I've seen people do it as well in different kinds of settings. Like I had a marketing fellow in our network who does marketing, and he actually likes to do joint ventures with those that are in the accounting business world, and accountants who have people actually come in and sit in their office. He had a promotional item that he left in their office in a bowl of candy, and it had a code on it. So people would sit and they'd eat the candy while they were waiting for their appointment. And because that accountant serviced a lot of business owners, it made sense because the marketer did work with business owners. And they would eat the candy as they sat there, and then they would pull out the promotional item and look at it and go, oh, geez, I'd like that. And then there was a code on it that they had to get, that they had to put into a form in order to get the thing. So he knew exactly where they came from. And every time that accountant sent him business because somebody ate the candy and literally took the bait and followed through, there was a code attached. So he knew to give a certain amount of money to the JV partner. And often in a JV partner relationship, there is an exchange of money. It's not usually done for free. It's usually done in exchange for some kind of percentage of cash or an upfront fee when a client is made. And it's a good plan. I mean, it's not a horrible plan, but it takes follow through, takes good salesmanship in order to accomplish it. And both parties got to be really sold out to the process. Like, if that accountant was asked a question about the marketer and he didn't, say something favorable about him, that would cause that to not work out so well, right? So there's got to be a certain level of commitment in this kind of thing. And there's a lot of people promoting JV partnerships, joint venture partnerships. I have, in the last few years, gone on special retreats designed to bring joint venture partners together. Some of them have been successful for us. Most, however, not so much. And a lot of it has to do with being matched up with the right JV partner. Often means that somebody has a similar list size to you. And since mine is significant, it hasn't always worked out for us as we've looked for joint venture partners. And I think also those that have small lists, it's been tough with them because they feel like they're not getting traction when they work with other people who have small lists, but they don't have the ability to give back to somebody with a big list. So it hasn't worked out for a lot of people. And that's been the feedback that I've gotten over the last few years. So let's move on now. What if collaboration is not a joint venture, then what is it? Okay, so let's describe this. We all have a target market. Is that right? You should know what your target market is. You should know exactly who it is you're trying to market to. And I know that I do meet people from time to time and they say things like, I could sell my skincare product to anyone with skin. Well, that sounds really fun, but it doesn't work worth beans when you're in the networking world, okay? What you really need to do is to drill down into exactly who is most likely your customer based off of experience of who has been buying it in the past from you and from others. So if you were selling skincare, for example, you probably would be able to target more directly if you said something like, my main customer is a woman between the age of 40 and 60 years old, or 45 and 55 years old, even narrowing it even more. And she's a professional woman who likes to look after herself and who spends money on cosmetic and skincare, right? So it's not really something that farmers are interested in that much, right? You're really drilling down into what kind of woman, what would be her age group, and what would she be doing in her life? What would her hobbies be, even? Would be a great way of drilling down into this target market and going, yeah, that's more specific. It works a lot better to market to in many, many ways. For instance, you would write your messaging more to that audience, but also when you advertise, it would go more to that audience. And when it comes to a collaboration, this is incredibly important because you want to collaborate with people who have the same target market as you. And if you've never done any work in your target market, then finding collaborating partners is going to be a little tough. Okay. So the first part of finding a great collaboration is, first of all, finding out who has the same target market as you. So in my case, I work with business owners and professionals and entrepreneurs, those that are in business as the primary target market. So who would my target market have? Who would I have that in common with? Well, marketing experts, for example, would be a great collaborating partner for me because they are also B2B, business to business, looking to do business with people who own businesses. So marketers, great idea. Accountants who specialize in working with business to business could be a great collaborating partner for me. A lawyer that works with trademarking, for example, great collaborating partner, right? So many of these people would be B2B and looking for the same kinds of clients that I currently have. And they would have clients that I would want to meet. Does that make sense? I think it does. I can see that I'm getting some great feedback here from people who are listening along. It's great to see that you're out there, and thank you for your comments. And really, really love hearing from you. And so I want to just talk a little bit more about this perfect collaborating partner, and then I'm going to tell you what to do with that collaborating partner, because it's going to be amazing when you start working with people who could be that ideal collaborating partner. Because if I have clients that pay me, for example, I have sponsors at CIBN and they pay me $10,000. All right. And let's say I'm working with, and I do have collaborating partners. Actually, I have Catherine Kimmel, and I can see us here. She could be a potential collaborating partner. And Haley Gray is a collaborating partner. Haley has a marketing business and the WEN network, and has a lot of business owners that have paid her money. And Catherine has business owners that have paid her money. And those are just a couple. I'm just thinking about in my own area and community. Caroline Troy is a valuation expert. Okay. She's somebody who works with business owners all the time and figures out the valuation of their company. So she has high-end clients. You know, these would be great collaborating partners for myself in that scenario. And the thing about the people we would bring to each other is that we bring buyers to the table. That's what makes the collaboration partnership so powerful. I want you to think about that for a minute, Because a lot of you are running around in networking meetings trying to get people to give you a referral. And most of the people that they would refer to you are not actually the best referral, because they're people they heard of, they met once. There's someone they met on the internet that said that they had a need for something. And if they said they had a need for something, that could be a pretty good referral. But a lot of times it's just we're thinking, oh, that person, they should be interested in that niche or that service. They should be interested. But we don't know that they have the budget for it. We haven't pre-qualified them. But you see, if I reach into my client base and I refer somebody from my client base to one of my collaborating partners, I know that that person has spent with me. And in my case, they might have spent $10,000 or $25,000 or at least $2,000. I know they have some money. Do you see the importance of this? Because many of us are chasing after people to come into our collaboration and they have no money and they never bought anything before. So we don't even know if they could be potentially in that target market, because the budget is also an important part of the collaboration piece. It's not just I know that they're interested. I need to know that they could afford it if they wanted it. So that if I refer them to you as that ideal candidate, that when you get the referral, you go, oh, wow. Not only do I know that they are the ideal candidate because it's of interest to them and because they've said so, but I also know they have the budget because they spent 10 grand with Kerry George. See what I'm saying? It up levels the importance of this referral and the ability to turn it into something amazing. This type of a referral is extremely valuable because we know there's a history of making purchases of stuff that they thought that was important. We know that it has been purchased before, they have the budget, and they have the interest as well. So now if I give that person who is my client a raving review about Haley Gray and saying how awesome she is, what a tremendous marketer she is, and how what a great job that she does, that client now goes, oh, wow, well, I'd love to meet this Haley, and when Haley meets her, it's going to be a better quality referral and a more receptive referral. The closing ratio should be a lot stronger because she's now been built up as the expert in this field. And that's how we want collaboration to work. Ideally, I'd like to have 4 partners, at least 4. It's hard to maintain like 100 people in a collaboration partnership pod, okay? It's easy for me to get to know 4 or 5 people really, really well so that I would feel comfortable to give them people from my direct client base. And I would have to have these feelings of trust. So, when we're talking about in networking, we say, we got to get to know someone. I got to get to like them. And I got to get to know them, like them, and trust them. So where the networking thing often falls down with people is they'll go out networking and they meet people, maybe at a free networking event, and they usually will book one-on-ones. And then they go and have a one-on-one with somebody. And then it seems to be like it was a great experience and we had fun and it was great, but it doesn't equate to any business. So why doesn't it equate to business? Well, I can tell you right now, it's because we didn't go the next step. We didn't actually keep meeting with the person to actually get to the point, not just where you like them, but where you know them and where you trust them. You see, I go to networking meetings a lot, have done over the years. I run CIBN Connect, and I've personally facilitated over 8,000 networking events. That's just what I facilitated. That's not what I have attended, because I've also gone and attended other people's networking events over the years and other organizations. And I've flown to other cities to do networking events. And usually when you go to a networking event and then you do follow-ups with people, you call them one-on-ones. Generally, we establish in the one-on-one that we like somebody right away. We'll meet with somebody and we'll go, yeah, I really clicked with that person. It was really awesome, and I had a really, really good time with them and I liked them. but that doesn't mean that I know them. And I certainly wouldn't open up my client list to that person just based off of a first impression that I like them. So what do you do next to get them to know you and to inevitably get them to trust you? Well, at CIBN Connect, we have what is called the collaboration strategy, where we actually show our members how to identify who would be great partners for them in collaboration, the people who would have the same target market, and then how to take the relationship to the next level. Because in that first meeting, you never get to the place where you're going to open up your huge list of personal connections, best friends, or even more importantly, paying clients. You would never share, like I would never share my paying client list with somebody I met only once. I would want to get to know them better. So at CIBN, we have this strategy where we show the collaborating partners how to get to the next level in this relationship by having the next appointment and then the next appointment and then the next appointment. And what do you do on these appointments? And the reason that it works really well within the confines of CIBN Connect is because in most networking organizations, if I met somebody for the first time and I never met them before, and it was established on that meeting that they weren't going to buy from me, they're not the buyer that I would want, then it's weird when I say, hey, I'd like to meet you again. They're like, why? What for? Didn't we just establish I'm not buying your stuff? I said I'm not interested. And I say, well, let's get together anyway. And they're like, why? You're weird. Go away. Well, CIBN Connect, we show these people how to, take that to the next step. What is the reason for getting together for the next meeting? And then what do you do on the next meeting that helps deepen the relationship quickly so that we can discover if this is somebody I can get to know, and do I want to? And then how do I establish trust really, really quickly, right? Because I don't have time to build relationships with 100 people at once. And it's ridiculous to think that I could. It would be a huge time-wasting activity. But I would want to establish relationships with a handful of people, especially if they could feed my business on an ongoing basis. That would make sense. And I think it would make sense for you as well. So you'd want to have a plan and a strategy to do that. And so at CIBN Connect, we have created that. And with the When CIBN partnership, that's part of the training that members get in the paid membership. And that's part of the training that we put into the video portal that is available for people. This is a $150,000 a year strategy. So that's why there are fees to belong to CIBN Connect, because when you are part of the network, you get access to these inside strategies and how to do this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this, about why this works and how it works and how we can feed off of each other. And then the math on it, like where am I coming up with $150,000 a year from this? Is that some baloney? Well, I've used it myself personally for years. And one of the things I think that's really important when I share information with people, whether it be at a member's level for $17 or $77 a month or whatever, or whether I'm working with one of my clients where I do consultation. I only take 10 clients a year. For those that are building usually memberships. And that's because I've been doing that for more than a decade. And it's a much bigger ticket price to work with that kind of thing. But it doesn't matter if someone's paying me $17 a month or $25,000 a year. It doesn't matter. I want to only share information with them, or even with you who's watching this video for free. I want to share the stuff with you that I know it works because I've done it myself personally. I think it's really important that we drink our own Kool-Aid, don't you? I see a lot of people running around just spitting out stuff that they read, they saw, that they learned in some course, or that they literally just grasped onto in one conversation with somebody, and now they think it's theirs. Okay? Anything that I share with anyone, I'm just going to tell you one thing. I have done it. I am doing it. Every day, day after day after day. I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. All right. And when I'm talking about the collaboration strategy, This has fed my business for more than a decade. And the reason I can say with confidence that it's a $150,000 a year strategy, because it has exceeded that for myself personally. Okay. And when I have helped others to figure out how to do this, I have watched them explode financially and also grow as a human being in an amazing way. So the math on this strategy is really something. Like I guess I just want to give you an example. Let's say I had a $2,000 a month product that I was selling. So I was selling coaching or something for $2,000 a month. And let's say, and by the way, this is also brilliant because coaches could use this strategy to work with other coaches. Did you hear what I just said? I want you to just open up your mind here for a minute if you're a coach. Because I know a lot of coaches come into networking scenarios and they're immediately threatened by every other coach in the room. And wow, are you ever leaving money on the table if that's how you feel? Because coaches can actually create collaboration pods of their own where they work with other coaches who sell even exactly what you sell. Now, it's been my experience that most coaches don't sell exactly what the other coaches sell. They actually have some variances. But even if you had exactly the same coaching service that sold the same stuff, this would work for you. Now, why would it work for you? Well, it works for you because your clients tend to stop listening to you about 18 months to 2 years into the relationship. Oh, I know, you're special. Nobody does that. They all listen to you all the way along forever. You have clients for 10 years or more. Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. Most coaches lose the following that they have with or the ability for people to listen to what they say about 18 months into the relationship. Some might go a little longer. They might say, well, mine's about 2 or 2.5 years. But I've not met many coaches who would brag to say that, well, people listen to me forever and I just have them as clients forever. It's just a thing. You're not doing anything wrong. I was a pastor for 14 years, okay? I would preach certain things into the congregation and they would like listen at first and then they would stop listening, right? And then you'd have to get the traveling evangelist to come in and say the same thing. And then they would go, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I've never heard that before. I learned to stop being frustrated by that years ago. Okay. No, it's human nature. So here's the thing. If I'm a coach and I actually have a collaboration pod with other coaches, I can kind of feel when my client is not listening to me the way that they used to. They're not taking my advice or showing up for appointments. Maybe they're blowing some appointments. When that starts to happen, they may stop paying me at some point soon. They may go, well, this isn't, I'm moving on now. I'm finding this other, I'm going to chase this other bright light over here. Well, what if instead of just letting them wander off, what if you just watch for those signs? And as they start to show up, you go, you know what? While your relationship is still good with them, you say, hey, Joe, now that you've really come a long ways with me and you've done this and you've done that and congratulations. And I'm just feeling right now that you really need to focus on X. And, I think that the best thing for you to do would be to work with Jill. My friend Jill is amazing at X. She just does such a great job with people as they're trying to accomplish X. And I really feel that at this time, it would be great if I gave you a referral to start working with Jill so that you could focus on this area of your business, which you have said is so important because she is a master at that. And maybe when you're finished with her, you can come back and we can work on something else. But for now, I think you should go and work with Jill, and I'll make that happen for you. Let me just CC the two of you in on an email together. Now, when you do this, Jill's pretty excited because she got a new client, but Jill is also very motivated to send one back. And if I was a coach and I had 4 or 5 coaches in my pod who had similar things that they did, and we worked back and forth like this, we would never run out. And whether the math was $1,000 a month that we're charging or $2,000 a month that we're charging, I'm just going to go with the $2,000 model because it's easy math. If I had 5 people that were sending me 5 referrals each on $2,000 a month, kind of a business, do you see how that could easily add up to more than $150,000 a year? Because a $2,000 a month client is pretty close to $25,000 a year. It's $24,000. So you see, it only takes a handful of clients like that to hit that 150 mark. And even if I was doing $1,000 a month, again, $1,000 a month, it's 13 clients to actually do $150,000 a month. You see what I'm saying? That's why I know that the collaboration strategy is the kind of strategy that can bring in $150,000 a month. There's more intricacies to this than what I'm just sharing with you here today, because I don't have time to get into it all. I didn't want to take longer than 45 minutes or so in my discussion with this today. But I did want to give you some ideas of how this can work. Where you really find out more about this is through the CIBN. You have to come into CIBN Connect, because there's a whole underbelly to this. There's a whole learning curve that has to take place in order to do it. But once you do it and you start doing it, over and over again, the kind of money that this brings in is just remarkable. And it's beautiful because it brings in the exact target market that you are looking for, instead of maybes and couldas, shouldas and wouldas. Okay. You're dealing with people who have had a history of purchasing. That's a beautiful, beautiful client referral to get that kind of thing. Over the years, we've even discovered methods of turning this into events, and they can be done online and they can be done live and in person. But we have a strategy that's called the collaboration event strategy. That's where I bring my 5 best clients to the event. And those that are in my collaboration pod, the other 4 people, do the same. Now we have 25 buyers in the room. Pretty cool, eh? Now the event has to be set up in a way that it is conducive to real networking. There are things that should be avoided in that meeting. I have a list of 10 things that need to be avoided in that meeting. I'll give you one right now. When we have a collaboration event, we never have entertainment. Never. And I don't have them in my networking meetings either. Huge, huge, huge waste of time and money to spend on entertainment during networking. Why? Because nobody's networking. And in the case of trying to bring collaboration clients together, nobody's building a real relationship while we're all listening to a famous piano player. Hello? There's so many things that are important in this meeting, like seating arrangements. How do you do that? So there's a lot that goes on in this kind of a strategy, and that can actually increase the amount of value that it's even worth. Another thing is, how do you refer back and forth to each other in a way that gets the best results, right? How many times have I seen people, they send a referral and it's just like a quick note. Hey, I think you should talk to Kerry about X. Well, that's better than nothing, but not by much. Okay. The way a referral is given is really important because it places importance on the introduction and how a person should stop what they're doing right now and actually react to this. So a referral needs to be given in a way that the highest priority is placed on it. So when I'm referring 2 people together, and especially if they were from my collaboration pod, I would be giving a detailed description of why I think you need to meet this person, what I think they could do for you, why they're such an expert. That would go into a CC'd email with all 3 of us in it. And I would also place importance on getting together with them right now. I would say to them, hey, Bob, I know that you are incredibly busy right now.
but could you please make time for my friend Janice, because she really needs to have your service. And I think this is of the utmost priority for the two of you. Do you see, if that's said during the introduction phase, all parties' ears just opened up and perked up and listened to what I was saying. And now the chances of them reaching out and making this appointment happen is much higher than if I just flew out a sentence and just hit the send button or sent a text or something like that. You see, when this is done right, this method is actually a $150,000 a year method. And there's so much more that could be done with it. We've created collaboration pods for specific industries as well. I'll give you one other example. Real estate agent, mortgage broker, life insurance agent, the building inspector, or property inspector, and then also maybe home decorator, designer. All of those people work with people who are buying homes, new home buyers. You could also do real estate investment buyers with a pod like that. You see how they could all work together because they have a similar client, and they would all have existing clients that they could bring to the table or share with one another. The collaboration strategy can be done by those who are brand new in business, but it works best with those who have at least a few clients. And then as they start to build client repertoire, they can then share more of that with those in the pod. But you can only do this with those that you know and you like and you trust. It does not work with those that you just met at a networking event. And it doesn't work with those that you meet at free networking events. I wish it did. Make it cheaper for you. But free networking events attract broke people. And broke people means that they don't have any clients. So you have to do this with a group of people who have clients and they are successful and they're willing to invest in themselves. And that's why we found that it works very, very well at CIBN Connect for two reasons. One, we don't have any broke people because they have to pay fees. So we've sorted them out for you. You're welcome. Okay. We've done that. But the other reason that it works very well at CIBN Connect is because the strategy has been trained into all of the members. And if you say to them, hey, I think that we could build a strategy, a collaboration strategy together, or I'd like you in my collaboration pod, they would go, oh, yeah, I've heard that talked about. Let's do that. Let's explore that. And it doesn't seem weird to them that you want to get together again because they've been hearing it talked about. That's why it works really well in a group like that where everybody kind of knows what's going on. And when they're in the know, they're ready to get to know you better because they realize what's going on here. I think I've covered a lot today. There's a lot more I could say about this subject because I'm very enthusiastic about it. If you haven't noticed, I've been using the collaboration strategy for years myself. And it's been amazing, actually, to see it in action. And I see that we have other people who are listening along, and somebody else is saying, I get this even more as time goes on. Yeah, you know, it doesn't just jump up instantly. And it's something that's more caught than taught. I have to say that. A lot of people think, well, I can just, nail this all by myself. I'll just put together this group. It's not that easy because you have to convince other people in the group to know you and trust you, and without having it set up within the confines of an organization, everyone's kind of looking at you like, what do you want from me? It's hard getting that. Yeah, caught than taught. You know, we can take teaching and teaching and teaching all the time. And most of us run around to courses and then we don't even apply what we've learned in the courses. It's the repetitive action of hearing something over and over again, seeing it in action, doing it ourselves, doing bit by bit by bit as we get better at it. And that's what I mean. That's better caught.
than taught. It's picked up. I often say, are you picking up what I'm laying down? I hope you're picking it up today. I have actually been working on a book on this subject, a networking book with $150,000 methods in it. And this is just one of those things. Eventually, as the book goes live, we will post it under this video and other videos like this. But right now, I think you can get a lot of these strategies from the Increased Business Revenue collection. It's there in the playlist at CIBN TV on YouTube. And this is just one of 9 strategies on how to bring in an extra $150,000 into your business in the next 12 to 18 months. I hope that you appreciate them. I have had a lot of fun putting them out there, and I know what an impact they have made for those in our business network at the CIBN.com. I hope that you join us. Happy capitalism.